Hi everybody, thanks for pressing play on today's video. It's Caroline here from craftycarolinecreates.com. This is today's project, which is this very cute little gift box. Measures 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches. And if I just slide off the belly band, there we go, we can see there's a little thumb hole there and it opens up like that. And doesn't it have quite a good wow factor when you open it up? This is the Fruit Stand Designer Series paper, which is retiring at the end of May, but it is on special offer price, I believe, at the moment in the clearance rack. So if you love this DSP, it's a good time to stock up on it. I'm of course using up a lot of my DSP so I can buy some brand new stuff in the new catalogue, but this is really gorgeous, very summery Designer Series paper. But I'm going to show you how we made the box, of course. Let's see if I can quickly slide this back on. Did I get that? Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay, so what do we need? We need to start off with a piece of Designer Series paper, surprise, surprise. Using another one that is retiring and therefore also on at a great price in the retiring list sale. This is Moroccan, I think it's just called Moroccan Designer Series paper. And it measures 8.5 by 6 inches. Let me grab up, oh, bash, 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 let me grab up my scoreboard. And all of these dimensions will be over on craftycarolinecreates.com. Let me just get you in a bit so you can see the top. So don't worry about writing them down, just pop over there. I want this side to be our outside, so I'm going to put that down. And we're going to score it along the long side at 1/2 inch. 2.5 inches, 4.5 inches, and 6.5 inches. Turn it round and we are going to score it at, oh, this one's easy to remember, 2 inches and 4 inches. Okay, now before we take it off, what I'm going to do is going to go back, and you see at the top we've got a score line going this way at 1/2 inch. I'm going to put that at the top. And I'm just going to score at 1.5 inches just down to that first score line. And I'm going to do the same over here at 4.5 inches. So we've just made a score line that just goes down to the score line in the opposite direction. I think you can see that. I'm going to flip it round so the bit we've just scored goes to the bottom. And I'm going to do the same, scoring down at 1.5 inches. I'm going to go down to the first score line, but it's a bit further down on this side. So this is where my first score line here is. Okay, so we're going to go down to at 1.5 inches and at 4.5 inches. Okay, so you can just see that where I've done those two score lines there. Okay. Put the scoreboard away, but keep hold of your scoring tool for a moment because we just need to do one more score line. Now if you can see, there are effectively 3 squares here that we haven't scored. 1, 2, 3. So we've got a little score here and a long score here, and then there are 3 score lines, 3 squares. What we want to do is draw this line here, miss this first square out, and then we want to score it across this square here. So if we just put it down, line up our ruler on the score lines on either side. So we've scored here and we've scored a little bit here, and then in that center square we just want to score just there. Okay, flip it round and do exactly the same on the other side. Okay. So that's the middle square that doesn't have a score line on it. So if you can see, we've now got score line, no score line, no score line, and then a little score line at the end there. Okay, let's fold and burnish all those score lines. Well, I need all the score lines, the full score lines. Don't score the little ones, the ones that we've just made. Okay. It's really pretty DSP, this, isn't it? Very pretty. I haven't used it for a while actually. Okay, there we go. So now we are going to start and do some cutting. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to cut up all 4 of these score lines going along the base here. Ooh, I'm just going to cut up here, up here, up there, and the last one there. Okay, so that's 4. We basically made 5 flaps, and we're going to spin around and do exactly the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3, oh, that one wasn't very straight, and 4. Okay, so we've got 4 flaps just like that. Okay, and the next thing we are going to do is these little fin straps. You see where that score line is that we made, the little half score line? We are just going to cut those off along the half score line that we made. Okay, so that little score line that we made is just going to become a line that we cut across. The same in the middle, cut that off, and the same on this end. Okay, going to do the same on this side, cut up there and cut up there. Okay, so at this point you've got something that looks a bit like that. Okay, now this is where it gets a tiny little bit more complicated, not really that much more complicated, but what we want to do is from where this flap, this little flap, the top of this little flap meets this box, we effectively are going to cut off at a diagonal. Let me just show you. You can draw that on. Oh, just like that. Okay, so you can do it on your trimmer, so we're going from one corner to the other, just like that. Okay, we do exactly the same on the other side. Just going to do this by eye. You can, as always when we do these diagonal lines, do it on your trimmer, but I find if you use a long pair of scissors like mine, then it works equally as well. Okay, so we got something that looks a bit like that. I tend to think of this as the nose, so it's like when I was trying to remember how to cut these, this might make no sense and it shows how crazy I am, but I try to think of this as the nose of the fish, this little thin bit here, and then these are its fins going back that way, and hopefully that would help you to remember, because we're also going to cut these 2 large flaps at exactly the same diagonal. So we're going to start in this corner here and cut across, and then flip it round and do exactly the same on the other side, just like that. Okay, so this is the shape that we end up with, something like that. Okay, now we are going to build this up, and what we are going to do is start by putting some fuse on the back of these 2 flaps here. Okay, and on the back of these 2 flaps here. Okay, and then we're just going to fold this up and stick that down like that, and on both sides. Okay, now don't worry that you're going to get that little square, we'll go back and trim that off in a moment, and we're going to do exactly the same these 2 flaps. There we go, and then just going to fold these 2 little bits in, and again a little bit of fuse on the back of those 2 little ones there, and then we can just fold that up to make sort of a base. Okay, and we can see that then that's going to basically fold over and make our box. We're going to trim these little bits off though. Just bring your scissors in and follow the line of the box. Just trim that off. One's gone there, turn it over and pull that off there. Okay, and then there's also 2 here at the bottom. Just going to cut those off as well. There you go. Spin it round. Oh. Oh. Went a bit too far there, so I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. We can still get that nice chamfer. It doesn't really matter that much. Okay. So now we're going to make, so I mean you could use that as a perfect perfectly lovely box, really, couldn't you? But I just think it looks nice, just like that. Pac-Man. But I think it looks nice if we put that liner box in. So for that, we are going to take a square of Dapper Denim cardstock. This is Emerald Envy and Dapper Denim. Emerald Envy, I'm going to miss you. Not Emerald Envy. Is it Emerald? Yeah, it's Emerald Envy, isn't it? Emerald Envy, yeah. Emerald Envy, I'm not going to miss you because you're around for another year. I thought it was Mint Macaron for a minute. Right. Okay, I obviously have had too much coffee today, so stop babbling on. And a piece of Dapper Denim cardstock measures just a smidgen less than 6 by 6 inches, so 5 and 5/16 if we want to be exact. Right, bring in your scoreboard, and we are scoring this at 2 inches on all 4 sides. 2, 2, 2, and 2. Okay. Fold and burnish those score lines super quick if you haven't lost your bone folder. There it is, in the 2 minutes since you last had it. It's going to go there. It's going to go here. Right, bring in your scissors and we are going to cut up 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then just notch those out and just cut them roughly in half, just like that. Okay, just means you're not going to get quite so much bulk when you build this up. Okay. Perfect. Right, let's move all these scraps out of the way, and we're going to put a bit of fuse on the back. Okay. And then we're going to fold these up. 1, 2, 3, and the last one. There we go. And then this should just fit perfectly inside our DSP box. There it does. Can you see? It should be a really tight fit. You don't really need to glue it in. What I am going to do though is I'm just going to notch out a little hole. I'm going to use a 1-inch circle punch for this, just so that when you open it you can see a little bit what's inside. And then I've got to get it out. We're going to use 3/4 of an inch circle punch and punch in a little thumb hole here. Okay. So this will just then close up nicely over the top like that, and that's our little box. I do think it's got a good wow factor when you open it up. Okay, just a little bit of decoration to finish. I have some Dapper Denim ribbon. This is another retiring item which you can pick up at the moment for a steal. You just cut some of that. Okay, let's tie that off in a little knot. There we go. Snip and snip. Ooh. There we go. And of course we have to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to use a set that I have probably neglected quite a bit actually. It is called I Stamped This. Never actually made it to the catalogue, so you may not have even seen it. Some really good stamps here for anybody that's a paper crafter, any type of crafter really, a baker, anybody that sort of gifts homemade items. This is a fantastic stamp set for you. We're going to do this one here that says one of a kind, just here. Because I think that, you know, it relates to the box, it could relate to the content, it could relate to the recipient. A little scrap of very vanilla cardstock. I'm just going to stamp that up, ink that up and stamp that down. Okay, and then the 1-inch circle punch, we are going to punch that out. There we go. A few dimensions on the back, dimensionals even. Did you know in the new catalogue, if you spotted them, there are some mini dimensionals coming. So no more cutting up all the end bits. And I'm just going to then stick that onto my ribbon. There we go. What I did on the other one, I forgot actually, I punched out 2 circles and then just slipped one on the other side of the ribbon. And it just means that just make sure that your sentiment sticks to the ribbon and not to the box. And there we go. What do you think? 2 very cute little gift boxes with that really wow factor opening. Yeah, that's all I have for to say really. I'm going to be back on Friday with another project. That is going to be a sneak peek of some new catalogue products. I know you all enjoyed the project I shared on Friday using fantastic new set from the new catalogue. Happy Birthday Gorgeous. I know that went down really well. Thank you to everybody that has got in touch saying how much they are enjoying the new catalogue. If you would like a copy, it would be my pleasure to send you one. Pop over to craftycarolinecreates.com and you can request a copy there. Okay, thanks for watching and I'll hopefully see you again soon. Bye bye.